Coming up on Sports Tonight, a primetime playoff showdown between the Browns and Steelers. The Browns back in the postseason for the first time in 18 years. We'll recap it, we'll relive it, and we'll hear from the Browns. The voice of the Browns, Jim Donovan, will join us with his take on the game and what's next for the team. Plus, the NFL playoffs roll on, and OHIO, yep, the Ohio State Buckeyes are getting ready to tackle Alabama for the national championship down in Miami, Florida. It's Sports Tonight, post-game edition, and it starts now.
And the snap goes high over the head of Big Ben, all the way back to the 2, to the 1, and the Browns have it in the end zone, and they dive on the ball and recover it for a touchdown. 3rd down and 4, delivers the ball, it's caught. Landry's got it at the 25, at the 20, Peoples-Jones blocking for him. He's at the 10, the 5, he leaps and scores, touchdown. Gets the ball running near side left. Here comes Hunt, he's going to get to the 5, and he's going in, touchdown. Kareem Hunt is in. Baker throws, end zone, touchdown. It's Austin Hooper. And the Browns are in again.
Oh, what a night. Can you believe it? It took 18 years for the Browns to get back to the NFL playoffs, but tonight it felt like it was worth the wait. Wow, the Browns a winner 48-37 over the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they are moving on. Good evening and welcome into Sports Tonight. It was an absolute party in Pittsburgh, and we plan to continue that over the next half hour or so here on Sports Tonight. Let's relive one of the best games we can remember for a long time. Browns and Steelers. Mike Priefer on the sidelines. Our game of the day brought to you by Brunswick Auto Mart. Car buying made truly simple. From the very first snap, the Browns took charge up 7-0. Baker Mayfield finds Jarvis Landry for a 40-yard touchdown. That made it 14-0. The Browns up 28-0 after the first quarter, up 35-10 at halftime. They go on to win 48-37 in Pittsburgh. Let's listen in to acting head coach Mike Priefer, who is subbing in for Coach Kevin Stefanski tonight.
I just reiterated what Kevin talked about. I told him, what we needed to do, the turnover margin. The team that was going to win this game was going to win the turnover margin. I think we were 10-0 coming into today when we either won the turnover margin or we're even, and that's huge. And obviously tonight it came to fruition. Talked about the techniques, talk about playing as a team, talking about complementary football. And, just told them, that's what we need to do to win the game. And the faster physical team, more physical team was going to win the game. And I thought we did a good job in that regard as well.
Thanks, Jake. Nate Ulrich is next.
Say about the way Baker Mayfield performed tonight and was able to, make sure you guys capitalize off those takeaways. Yeah,
that guy has got an amazing amount of self-confidence in a good way. And I know he's got some swagger to him. But I love the way he handles adversity. When Pittsburgh started coming back, and I knew they would, we all knew they would because they're a great football team. They're a well-coached football team. They got, a Hall of Fame quarterback, and we knew they were going to do whatever they could to get back in that game. Every time they scored or got a good drive or whatever the case may be, Bake's on the sideline talking to the offensive line, talking to all his offensive players, and he had them ready for the next drive. And we didn't always go down and score in the next drive in the second half. But I tell you what, take advantage of those turnovers and turn them into 7 points instead of 3. Those were huge early on in the game. And then the way he responded when Pittsburgh was coming back in the second half was extremely impressive.
Thanks, Nate. Fred Greetham is next.
Yeah, Coach, congratulations. Nothing to this coaching, huh?
Oh, jeez. No, I tell you what, the foundation's been set. We all know it's Kevin's team, and I was just, like I said earlier in the week, I was honored and humbled to be in this position, and the guys responded well, and we went out and won the game.
Mary Kay Cabot, we'll go to you.
Yeah, Coach, since we weren't able to be in there, can you give us a little bit of a glimpse of what the post-game celebration was like in the locker room and what was kind of going on in there?
There's a lot of loud music and a lot of dancing and a lot of celebrating and hooting and hollering, and guys is very, very excited. It means a lot. A lot of these guys have not won a playoff game. A lot of them haven't been in a playoff game before. So those that had not, it means a lot. And those of us who've been around, I've only been in a handful of games, and I've only, I think, won one in my 19-year career. So this was a huge, huge game for me personally as well. And, being from Cleveland and just understanding what this means to the city and to the organization. And I had my wife and all 4 of my kids were at the game in the stands right behind us, and it was awesome.
So this was something we knew yesterday, but with tonight's victory, it's now official. Next up for the Cleveland Browns, it'll be the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. They are the top seed in the AFC. They had a bye this weekend. And look at this. We've already got all the info for you. Next Sunday, a 3:05 kickoff, the Browns and the Chiefs from Arrowhead Stadium. Well, tonight, he had the call on the Cleveland Browns radio network. He's the voice of the Browns, our own Jim Donovan. He joins us live now from First Energy Stadium. And, Jimmy, what a night, what a game, what a start. I have to ask you, what was this like for you calling this on the radio side, everything we saw at Heinz Field?
It was quite a journey, I'll tell you, Nick. It really was, amazing all the way through, because your expectations were kind of simmered because of the week that the Browns went through. It was torture all week long. We remember celebrating that they made the playoffs Sunday night, and then Monday, and then Tuesday you get the news about Kevin Stefanski, Joel Bitonio, KhaDarel Hodge, other coaches on the coaching staff, and then the team can't practice at all. The NFL finally lifts the lid and allows them to squeeze in a practice late Friday afternoon. Imagine that, Friday afternoon, very late. They get a walkthrough on Saturday. The coaches drive to the game. The players fly to the game. Jack Conklin was ill. He was isolated. He went to the game by himself. With those kind of things happening, you're saying to yourself, oh, my goodness, they have to play the Steelers, who were really coming in at 100% health-wise after they had rested a lot of their players last week. But there is something about this team, Nick, that they are resolute in what they can do, and they just have bonded together. And when a team is together like that, they are really tough to beat. And the other thing is they can score. They can really score. We've seen that all year long. When they went to Tennessee, they scored. When they went to Cincinnati, they scored. Here at First Energy Stadium a number of times, they can really score points. So if you're going to allow them to go up and down the field, they will take that opportunity. But I will tell you, we have lost a lot of games over at Heinz Field through my years of calling the Browns game, and that got sticky. That really did get sticky in the second half, and yet I think Mike Prefer put it so well in your comments from him in the postgame situation. Baker Mayfield kind of settled it down, got them on a couple of drives that got them points, killed the clock. This is one of the greatest wins, I think, in Browns history.
Could probably give us multiple answers here, Jimmy, but for you, what was the most impressive part about this victory tonight?
I think the fact that they came out and were not intimidated at Heinz Field. And I know there are no fans over there because that's a very intimidating place. After all, this team's lost 17 in a row over there, and they've only won one game in their history since the place opened up. It's been a house of horrors for them, and they've lost them all different ways, including a playoff game with Butch Davis as the head coach when they had the game really what seemed to be in their pocket. So I was amazed and really thrilled with the way they came out and they took the game to the Steelers. Nick, so many times I think the Browns' past teams have gone over there and just tried to stay in the game. They've been a little bit tepid or timid going in there and just kind of hang around in the game. I don't think that's the way to do it. I think the way they did it tonight, go out and get the game and keep going, keep adding on. That was the thing that was very impressive to me.
Jimmy, I love when we have the camera on you in the radio booth so we can see you making the call and all the excitement. The only thing I would have enjoyed a little bit more than that tonight was one on Kevin Stefanski in his basement. Could you imagine?
It's got to be one of the most unbelievable stories that a guy who has done such a great job with this team. To me, and I think to you and to everybody certainly in this town, he's the coach of the year, and then he can't coach the team in the playoffs, and he's sitting at home in his basement in front of a 60-inch television set like all of you out there going through this thing. He can't communicate with the team once they left the locker room for the start of the game. What an amazing story. But on the horizon, Nick, the good news is, hopefully now, good health coming to the Browns this week, and that will be important as they get set for Kansas City. Hopefully he'll be back. The rest of the coaching staff will be back. Denzel Ward will be back. Kevin Johnson will be back. Joel Bitonio will be back. Kaderil Hodge will be back. If they have a good week health-wise, I mean, that will be great for them. They'll need it. They'll need all of them, coaches and players, going to Kansas City next week. But this is an incredible story. This is a story about, and which has been so wonderful to watch, is that changing of a culture of a football team that everybody waited for so long to really make them proud of once again. And I'll tell you what, the city is bursting with pride after this one tonight.
Well, Jimmy, you know more than anyone. You got to embrace these. You got to enjoy them. You got to celebrate them. With that being said, I got to ask you about the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs that await. Just when you first found out that this would be the matchup, what stuck out to you?
Well, I think it's going to be a lot of fun because I can remember when Patrick Mahomes came in here a couple of years ago, and I think it was when Baker Mayfield was a rookie, and it might have been, Nick, I'm going to test my memory on this, it might have been Greg Williams' first game in the interim head coaching position at Freddie Kitchens, calling plays for the Browns, and I can just remember the ease that Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and Kareem Hunt as a Kansas City Chief had that day, going up and down against the Browns. And I'm going, oh my goodness. Now that act has only gotten better, and they are terrific. But it's great to be in there with them. And I am fascinated, once again, how Baker Mayfield will play. Nick, the one thing I noticed, well, there are many things I notice about Baker Mayfield, but when he is challenged by the other quarterback that he's opposing that game, and when a lot of people say, well, Baker Mayfield's the second quarterback in this game, look out. I mean, he plays really at a very, very high level. It really gets his fire going. And as we all know, that fire is normally going 24/7 anyway.
Jimmy, listen, great call tonight on the radio side, and thanks so much for joining us here on Sports Tonight.
Thanks, Nick. Enjoy it. Enjoy it, everybody out there. This is a great thing to watch.
Jim Donovan, the voice of the Browns, joining us here on Sports Tonight, having some fun in our post-game party. All right, let's look at some news and notes here, just some historical things to look at. This is the Browns' first playoff win since 1994. That's pretty amazing. First road playoff win since 1969, and as we talked about, a first win in Pittsburgh since 2003. All right, our play of the day brought to you by Mr. Hero. It is that very first snap from scrimmage. How could it not be? It set the tone for the entire game. Big Ben can't get on it. Connor can't get on it. Carl Joseph from the Browns says, all right, I'll get on it. That's a touchdown, 7-0 Brown, and I really felt like it set the tone, as I said, for the entire game. All right, this was pretty cool. We haven't heard from OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr., in a long time. He took to Twitter tonight. He says, somebody got to show me the streets of Cleveland tonight. Beyond special. He knows we have waited a long time for this. All right, coming up, we're going to talk more about Baker Mayfield. What a performance from him. Jimmy was talking about it, and we will hear from the Browns quarterback when we return. Stay right there. Our player of the day brought to you by Union Home Mortgage. We're going to do it a little differently tonight. How about the entire Browns defensive unit? 5 turnovers on the night, 4 interceptions. I mean, they were really, really good tonight. Well, what more can you say about Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield? He has guided this team. He has led this team. And as Jim Donovan said, he really rises to the challenge when he's up against another great quarterback. He did it against Big Ben Roethlisberger tonight. Hopefully he can do it against Patrick Mahomes next week. But tonight, how about the Baker line? 21 of 34 through the air, 263 yards, 3 touchdowns. Got some job. He kind of got the job done on the ground, too, when he had to. Did really well. Baker Mayfield meeting with the media just a little bit ago, and he was asked recently about the comments that that Steelers wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster had made about the Browns just being the same old Browns.
It wasn't about that specifically. Yeah, it's the same quote, but we believe in the people in this room no matter what's going on. As soon as the COVID news came out that we were missing some key guys, obviously starting with our head coach, we knew that everybody was counting us out, and we knew what mentality we were going to have. And it's just to cut it loose and go out there and give it everything we had. But there was no added pressure. There was no extra anything. It was just for us to go out and do our job because no one believed in us besides us.
Thanks, Mary Kay. Jake Trotter, you're up.
Yeah, Baker, it seemed all week, whether it was Kevin or you, there was never any, poor us, despite what happened with the COVID situation. What did you take upon yourself to make sure that everybody kept believing? And then what did you see from Kevin, even though he wasn't there tonight, to keep you guys locked in and, like you said, believing in yourselves?
Yeah, Kevin still conducted our team meetings throughout the week and even led the team meeting on Saturday night. So as much as we've been on Zoom calls and everything and not been in person, it was pretty normal for a very non-normal year. It came down to us doing our job. And that's what I kept telling myself all week was if I do my job, don't put any added pressure, take care of the ball, do the things that we've been talking about the whole year and put us in position to have success. The rest will take care of itself.
Thanks, Jake. We'll go to Nate Ulrich.
Hey, Baker, congratulations. What was the locker room like? Mike Prefer mentioned that you guys had Kevin Stefanski on FaceTime. What was that whole scene like? And then could you just give us your quick thoughts on you guys are going to Arrowhead?
Yeah, the post-game locker room, we had a bunch of guys with FaceTimes on. Chad O'Shea had Kevin Stefanski. I think Sendejo had Jeff Howard. I'm trying to think who had Olivier on FaceTime. This is a team. No matter if we're in person or not, we've gone through everything. Everybody in the league had gone through the Zoom calls and everything. No matter if we're in person or not, we know the men that we have in this building, we're a team. We stick together, and that meant a lot. And just to have those guys there in our celebration was great. But the best mentality about it, or the best thing about it was, the mentality of everybody saying, hey, we didn't just want to win this game. And like I said last week, it's the stepping stone to where we eventually want to go. And for a lot of guys, it's a huge win. My first playoff win for starters, but nobody here is satisfied yet.
Hopefully the first of many, Baker. All right, our sports flashback. Speaking of playoff victories, it is brought to you by Northeast Factory Direct. Great furniture, great prices. Last Browns playoff victory prior to tonight, 1994. Bill Belichick, your head coach, and the Browns fittingly beat the New England Patriots. Unbelievable. All right, coming up, lots of playoff action, not only from today, but yesterday. We'll catch you up on all the action when we return here on Sports Tonight.
Get down on a knee and thank your stars and the powers above for what we have watched here tonight, because it is amazing. The Browns are going to beat the Steelers in the playoffs in Pittsburgh at Heinz Field. Unbelievable, Doug.
The final moments of Jim Donovan's radio call in the Browns radio booth. So much fun to see that tonight. Can't believe what we saw in Pittsburgh tonight. The Browns are winners, and they are moving on in the NFL playoffs. Now, prior to tonight, there were two other NFL playoff games that were played. We start with the action from the AFC. The Tennessee Titans hosting Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens earlier today. And I felt like this was the play that changed the complexion of the entire game. Right before halftime, Jackson goes 48 yards to the house. It tied the game at 10-10, but that really changed the momentum. The Ravens win 20-13. They are moving on. They'll play the Bills next week. The New Orleans Saints hosting the Chicago Bears in some NFC action. I'll tell you what, Drew Brees and his guys made this look easy eventually. Kind of close early on, but then they pull away. The Saints win 21-9. In the second half, it felt like 48-3. They'll play Tom Brady and the Buccaneers next week. That should be a fun one. All right, coming up, we've got your Buckeye breakdown. Oh, yeah, the Ohio State Buckeyes looking to win the national championship against Alabama. We'll be right back to tell you more. The Ohio State Buckeyes getting set to clash with the Alabama Crimson Tide later tonight down in Miami, Florida. The Bucs are an 8.5-point underdog, but we all remember what happened the last time Ohio State played Alabama. Coach Ryan Day, he knows that his team has their work cut out for them.
I know this, the finish line's coming on Monday, and we got to finish this thing strong, no matter what comes our way, what has come our way. You know, we've handled it. We got to continue to do that. And that's really what it is. And to say it's easy, no. To sit back and say that we can, pat ourselves on the back or feel good about what's gone on. No. We gotta finish this thing off on Monday.
Hey, good luck to the Buckeyes. They're an underdog. The Browns were an underdog tonight. Let's keep that trend rolling. Thanks so much for joining us here on Sports Tonight. So much fun being with you following a Browns victory. Look at that. It's already a Browns victory Monday. Terminal Tower celebrating. We're celebrating. Have a great night, a victory Monday, and an entire victory week. Enjoy it.